Did you know that what I'm about to show you is called tape porn? Yeah, it's a thing. On social media, it's an actual tag that you can look up on like Instagram or TikTok, and it's artists taking tape off their art. So here's some tape porn for you. By the way, be sure to hover over the timeline because I put chapters in so you can speed up past all this blah, blah, blah. But anyway, after taking a poll on my community page, whether you guys wanted me to paint a dog or a pumpkin, which most of you voted for the dog because I'm mostly an animal artist, but a lot of you chose the pumpkin, and this pumpkin only took me about 25 minutes to paint, so it's really fast. So I thought this would be a really fun tutorial to share with all of you in real time today as a special thank you gift to all my followers. And as we go into the holiday season, why not spread some cheer? I mean, I think we all need it. But by the way, be sure to check out my community tab once in a while because I share free things like line drawings, reference photos, and that's also the place where I post my paid YouTube students tutorials. But in today's video, we're gonna do a pumpkin because it's just plain fun. And darn it, I like fun and it's quick and easy. So we are also going to throw in a little bit of interest by painting it on hot press, which I normally paint on cold press. But this is gonna be on hot press, which with hot press, you can get more watery effects, you can get brighter colors, and you can get better detail. And the advantages of painting on cold press are you get better blending and it's easier to fix mistakes and not every single brush stroke shows. So it's a more forgiving, beginner-friendly paper, and it's the paper I use for 90% of my painting. But today we're gonna have fun and use hot press paper for this little guy. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, for this demonstration, I'm going to use Stonehenge hot press. I've taped it down with my Dick Blick brand masking tape. I've laid it out with orange watercolor pencil, and I just use these. And the first thing that I'm gonna do is just take my Silver Black Velvet size 8 round and get the sections wet. So we're just gonna go ahead and do that. And I'm following the contours of these sections. I'm getting a good bit of drippy water in these so that as I work and they dry, they won't get too dry. All right, let's get a mix of Holbein Aureolin and Naphthol Red by M. Graham, which, by the way, is the only manufacturer that uses this pigment in Naphthol Red, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So we're just going to place this is called charging when you paint watercolor into a pre-moistened area. Now this has already dried, so I'm going to take a wet brush and just get that reactivated. And I'm going to go in with clear water and just connect these. Now, these are a lot darker down towards the bottom, so I'm going to get a bit of Winsor Violet only takes a little bit. Get my aureolin in there and make a darker orange for these darker areas. Kind of keep the darks towards the bottom, and then even more Winsor violet in the bottom. To add some interest, I'm going to get some real watery permanent green light by Daniel Smith and add a few splashes there. All right, so that's the gist of how we're going to paint this. So now let's move on. And by the way, I'm going to run a clear brush down through these lightest areas and not put too much water, but a little drip. By the way, if you think you might be interested in being one of my paid students, my emphasis is painting loose, soft, yet realistic animals. So that is my focus, and if you're interested in that, I think you would enjoy being one of my paid students. Lift out those highlights. So you can lift out the highlights too, and they'll stay softer that way. That's pretty. Okay. And a few more splashes here. And then let's do these same way, basically. As you move around towards the light, things get less gray, so they'll be more pure colors. So we'll try to focus on that. So I'm going to get some pretty much pure orange here and do these sections while they're nice and wet. Get a little bit of red as we go down around to make it look a little darker. And then there's this really nice big section of pretty color here. Get more naphthol red and some aureolin mixed in there. And then add our darker purple darks to the creases only. So I'm just going to run this along the crease here. It's purple orange. Okay. So we've got the architecture in. Let's get a little bit more watery permanent green light. Very watery. And just splat some more. As this dries, you splat at different stages, you'll get different textures, which is fun. All right, now I'm going to totally clean out my brush and run it along these white areas to soften them. Pretty much obliterating the pure white there, especially down in here. You can continue to lift too. And then you can just soften with a wet brush anywhere where you see hard lines forming that you don't want. And then I like to attach everything to the shadow, so I'm going to do that. Put a nice deep purple in the shadow. I'm going to get some Winsor violet, red, and yellow for a dark yellow and purple together make a gray dark, which, how about a little ultramarine blue in there too? So we can just really pop that shadow. I'm going to draw this shadow out a little bit more. Really put cream consistency, gray, purple in there, and bring that color up to like this. As long as this is still wet, you can still work it. So this is the side of the pumpkin that's outside of the light, so it's really dark purple. Okay, this is drying more, so now let's go in with some very watery permanent green light, very watery. I'm going to get the excess drops off and just splat. I like those pumpkins that have all the pretty green speckles in them. This one kind of does. I just like watercolors that have like this. That's kind of fun, isn't it? Let's see what that does when it dries. It's just kind of fun to watch it do that. That would probably be a good technique to use in the shadows. That'll be fun to see how that dries. And if it gets too wonky, we can go back in when it dries with some darks to just put it back in its place. So the more water you add on hot press, the more splashy and loose it's going to look. So just keep that in mind. These little pencil lines I'm going to just kind of run over because I don't really want those to be really strong. And you can keep lifting if you want as this dries to define a few of the striations that these pumpkins have. So just also you can put some nice orange drips too. How about some nice big orange drips? That's my kind of watercolor with these little splats and stuff. Okay, while this is drying, we can work on the stem. Now the stem has all these interesting striations, so a fun way to do that, it can be with a Whisp brush, and it'll kind of make these striations as you just drag it down on the dry paper, and then we'll kind of spray and spritz at it here and there with a spray bottle with clear water in it to loosen it up. So you can paint really tight and then spray stuff and loosen it up. It's a great trick. So I'm just getting a mix of burnt sienna, and I'm going to put a touch of that down in here so that we have continuity. Just getting a bunch of burnt sienna on my brush here. The lamp black is kind of taking over. And I'm just going to dry brush. This is on dry paper now. And I'm going to get it even drier. And then finish off a few little details with my script size 1. You can also use just that size 0. All right. Then if you feel like any of that needs loosening up, just give a little spritz. And it'll loosen it up. That's too much. If you do that, then just, you can blot it up and then repaint in that area. So yeah, maybe not do that. I don't know. I'm gonna go in with cream consistency actually while this is still wet and just redefine that and just say, yeah, that's what I meant to do. And maybe now I'll go in with some more milk consistency green with some Permanent Green Light by Daniel Smith. This is a real chalky color, so it'll sit on top of all this, I think. I could be wrong, but I'm going to splatter it into the still wet pumpkin now that's half dry. So you have to wait till it's half dry to get more stronger cauliflower effects. And if you didn't watch my cauliflower video, be sure to watch that. We're going to let this dry and see what it looks like. And I like this Windsor Violet, I think, with the orange. I'm going to put a little bit of that through here. I like this purple played out against the oranges, and I'm just painting completely over just to add a little sparkle of purple. I'm just adding a little bit of definition here and also some definition in between on dry paper. I'll let this kind of drip out. All right, we're ready to sign. I'm going to sign with my Tombow Fitness Suke calligraphy pen. If you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like and leave me a comment, which helps tell YouTube's algorithm that you like me and want to see more of me, and I sure hope you do. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. On actual... Boop.